Today's Total Soccer Show is sponsored by SeatGeek. If you want to know why they're called SeatGeek, listen to today's show and you might find out. If you want to get $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase of a ticket, download the SeatGeek app, enter the promo code TSS, that's TSS, you get $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase.
This is Taylor chiming in, unmuting my mic to say, if you want to hear Daryl give the worst quiz of all time, keep listening to today's show.
And welcome to the Total Soccer Show. My name is Daryl Grove and I'm joined by a man who's in pre-season form. His name is Taylor Rockwell. Hello.
Hello, that means I'm not in shape. So thank you for that.
Well, we did have our first practice session for our team last week. I thought we looked pretty good.
Yeah, you all did. I stood on the sidelines doing my best imitation of a coach. Hands behind the back, squinting, always thinking, always watching.
Very convincing. Today, could you do your best imitation of a soccer podcaster?
I always do. I always try.
Today's show, as ever on Sunday evening, it's thumbs up, thumbs down for all the action we saw this weekend. Can we start with the FA Cup?
I think we probably should.
So no Premier League this weekend. It was all FA Cup. I'll invite you to choose. You can start wherever you like with your thumbs, as long as it's in England or Wales.
I'm going to start. It's not. It's right here. I'm going to start with the fact that Daryl Grove appears to have moved 1 foot over to the right of his desk. And listeners, if this whole show feels like it's a half a foot off as a result, you're correct.
I feel like you've moved 1 foot to my left.
I don't know.
All right.
Perception is a thing, I suppose. I am going to go.
Do you want me to move down a bit?
No, because then you have to touch your mic. It'll be a whole thing.
Okay.
Instead, I'll just look diagonally. I'll tilt my neck slightly. I'm going to go with probably the biggest story from the weekend, Rochdale 2, Tottenham 2.
That is the biggest story,
Yeah,
right?
I think so. I think so, just because it is the magic of the cup narrative, I would say.
I've got thumbs up to the magic of the cup. It happened at Deepdale.
Yep, I'm going to say thumbs up to Rochdale for earning that replay. It wasn't fluky. There were moments when they looked like the better team. Not bad for the bottom team in League One.
Yep.
But I will say, in terms of the magic of the cup, they had to relay their pitch, I think last week or midweek, about £500,000 for this game. The narrative that's being spun is that Mauricio Pochettino didn't like it, thought it was dangerous, so they relayed it. That doesn't seem like a thing that happens.
He doesn't have that much authority, right?
No, and also, if you're going to try to advance in the cup and you're a lower-level team, you want your field to be as bad as possible.
Muddy that up. Wolves won leagues in the 50s by doing that.
I think they're not the only ones.
Oh, Pushkas is coming? Get some more water.
I really hope that was their tactics.
That's not even a joke. That's not even a joke.
They played in 8 inches of water. It's a risky strategy. But my guess is that it was probably a pre-planned thing. Maybe it wasn't. But I think the biggest thing for me is that with this replay, Rochdale, who are financially strapped, as far as I understand, have now earned over $1 million in prize money and ticket allocation, all that good stuff from the FA Cup.
Because here's the thing. Because they held Spurs to a 2-2 draw at home, I want to get into the details of what happened. They now go and play Spurs at Spurs' home ground, but it's not White Hart Lane. And it's not the new White Hart Lane, it's Wembley.
Yep.
So the point of the FA Cup for small teams, the dream is to get to Wembley. Normally you used to have to get to the FA Cup final for that, then the semi-final. Now you just have to play Spurs away, and you get to go to Wembley in the FA Cup. This is a dream come true for a lot of these Rochdale players.
Yeah, and for a lot of them who are 35, 36 years old, but then there was also the story.
The guy who scored the equalising goal, I believe, is not a youngster.
Yeah, no, he's not, but there was
Ian Henderson, the first goal, 33, I believe.
But there's the one kid who I think I saw a story on Reddit that was so young he was doing his schoolwork on the way to their last FA Cup fixture and can't legally change in the locker room with them because he's so much younger. Yeah. Interesting times. But congratulations to Rochdale. Should we talk about what happened? Because I've got another thumb, and it's thumbs down to Tottenham's plan. I'm going to call it C for the season. Plan A
C?
Is Harry Kane scores goals.
Yep.
Plan B is Son comes in and operates as a forward if Harry Kane needs a rest. But if they're not doing that, it seems to be plan C. Again, I saw this one doing the rounds.
Fernando?
Adebayor, Soldado, Janssen, and Llorente have combined played 114 games for Spurs since Kane had his breakthrough. They've scored 9 non-penalty goals between them. That's a bit misleading because some of those have been like they came on for 10 minutes or 14 minutes.
Yeah.
Still, they're averaging 1 goal every 6 games, which is not what you want from your backup striker.
You've grouped all these guys together.
Basically. But
Spurs were just waiting for Harry Kane to happen.
I mean, yeah, but even now, they're kind of still waiting for that in every single game.
Yeah.
Because you did have moments with Llorente where I thought, oh, he's going to do it. He's going to score. Oh, no, he shot it wide. Oh, no, he didn't get clean contact.
He thought the same.
Yeah, he did too.
So here's why I think this is really magical in terms of the Cup. Mm-hmm. What often happens is, the home lower league team against the Premier League opposition do often go, not often, but it's not rare for them to go 1-0 up, like Rochdale did. But then you slowly just get beaten down by the quality of the opposition, right? And Spurs scored with Lucas Moura, an expensive winger. Then they had Dele Alli sort of leave his foot behind and make sure he won a penalty. There's not many more Premier League things happening right now than Dele Alli leaving his foot behind for a penalty. Harry Kane, off the bench, steps up and scores that penalty. It just felt very much like, we had a good go, but the Premier League-ness overwhelmed us. And then Toby Alderweireld forgot how to do a proper defensive header, instead did a flick on in his own box.
Which has been kind of what he's done this Premiership season, so it continues.
He's not having a good year. I think he's sort of fallen out with Pochettino as well, which is part of the reason he's in this sort of second-string team that was playing against Rochdale. Steve Davis was on the end of Toby Alderweireld's accidental flick on, 2-2. Rochdale, the crowd goes wild. And they're on their way to Wembley for the quarter-final.
That is weird to say.
If they win this, they'll play the next 3 games at Wembley.
That is odd. That is really strange that it is sort of the way things...
Wembley
they're going to Wembley for the replay, and then, moving on from there.
Sounds true for Spurs, I guess.
Yeah, that is true, yeah. And I do want to say, because I know maybe there'll be some Tottenham fans out there who don't love that we're categorizing that as not necessarily a dive, but a leave behind from Dele Alli.
I didn't say the word dive.
You did not.
I said hook.
You are crafty for it. I would say...
Just like Dele Alli, I choose my moments very carefully.
But would you say then... I don't want to put you in a corner here, but I will ask, do you think this is a things can be two things sort of situation where there is contact and it is clumsy from the Rochdale defender, but it is also Dele Alli dragging that foot behind it, knowing that contact will be made or maybe made all the stronger and more obvious?
First of all, no one puts Darryl in a corner.
Okay.
Second,
I've heard that.
Yes, absolutely. I don't have his name in front of me. I believe it was like McKaylee is the defender's name. Sure. And I think, once you sort of put your foot out in front of Dele Alli to try and stop him, and in a slightly clumsy way, right? If you just take the ball, there's not much you can do. But if you put your foot out, you're essentially inviting Dele Alli to dangle that foot behind and go down for a penalty. I think he even had a bit of a mid-air spin as well. He put some spin on it.
Yeah, it was a dramatic fall to the ground.
Yeah. And again, honestly, I understand
Dafoe
it.
was proud.
I understand if you're a Rochdale fan, you would not be thrilled about this, right? But as an England fan, or as a Spurs fan, when he does it for your team, you kind of just think he's taken maximum advantage of the opportunity. Yeah. That's what I want him to do.
Gamesmanship? Question mark?
Gamesmanship. Yeah.
And Harry Kane...
Rochdale got CONCACAF'd, basically.
That is true. I did want to ask you, in the lead up to the World Cup, did watching Harry Kane hit an inch-perfect penalty make you feel even more confident about the World Cup?
Especially after he missed one recently, right, against Liverpool. So, seeing that bottom left corner, bang, made me feel good. I'm still saying Harry Kane, very specific prediction, which I haven't done for a while, wins the Golden Boot in Russia.
Oh, wow. So expectations have increased.
Or a Russian wins it and then gets caught using performance-enhancing drugs, and then Harry Kane gets it afterwards.
Yeah, but I think then if we continue that, then... somehow they say, oh, never mind, he wasn't using performance-enhancing drugs. We lost the samples or something, so never mind, he can have it back.
Also, final thumbs up for Rochdale being officially as good as Juventus.
Yes.
2-2.
That's it, right there. That is, I think, exactly how it works. So for all the people who want to ask, is League One better than Major League Soccer or vice versa, just know that League One is apparently better than the second-best team in Serie A.
There we go.
All right, perfect. Where else would you like to go in the FA Cup?
Let's go to Chelsea's 4-0 win over Hull City and say thumbs up to Kyle Scott's teammates, his Chelsea teammates, for continually passing him the ball. So Chelsea were 4-0 up by half-time.
That's a very specific way of phrasing that.
Chelsea were 4-0 up by half-time, mostly through 2 moments of absolute magic from Willian. He was brilliant in this game. He was everything you would want sort of a Premier League player to be against lower league opposition as you destroy them in the FA Cup.
You really do wonder how Brazil are going to do anything in this coming World Cup. I mean, they don't really have many talents who are scoring many goals.
Coutinho's getting a nice rest on the bench at Barcelona as well, right? Then Chelsea bring Kyle Scott on for his Chelsea debut with about 30 minutes to go. If you don't know about Kyle Scott, he's eligible for multiple national teams. I think England, Ireland, United States, definitely, and I think Italy. I may have that last one wrong. But the last national team, youth national team that he played for was the United States. He is a United States possible player.
Do you know how I knew that? Well, number one, because he's in the scouting network, we followed him.
Yeah.
But number two, his name is Kyle Scott, Daryl. He's American. Let's be real here.
2 first names.
There's no Kyle Scott representing any other country at the World Cup aside from the United States.
That's funny. So Kyle Scott, 20 years old, comes off the bench, Chelsea debut, gets a good 30 minutes. He's got his hair in a kind of half mullet.
Oh, it's a mullet.
It's not looking good, is it? I'm not a fan of it. But what they did is, because they were 4-0 up and sort of coasting, they definitely, his Chelsea teammates kept just finding Kyle Scott. Kyle Scott kept asking for the ball. And it looked very much like Antonio Conte had maybe said, this is a get Kyle Scott the ball exercise. Let's do it. Mm-hmm. The bad news is, for about 15 of the 30 minutes he got, it did not work out. He misplaced a lot of passes early on. His first pass was... he was sort of under pressure and tried to pass it back to, I believe, Rudiger, and it went between defenders. It was Ampadu and Rudiger, and I think he put it between them, and luckily the goalkeeper came out and got it. A couple more got intercepted, but he slowly settled down and kept seeing the ball, and by the end he was putting some nice passes out there. I don't think we'll be seeing his Premier League debut anytime soon, though, based on that shaky 15 minutes he had.
I agree. I will say at least this is happening now as opposed to a month ago, because I would argue that if this happened a month ago, maybe that's Antonio Conte being like, do you see what I have to work with? Go buy me some players. But if it's in February, maybe it is a sort of, he wants to see who else is out there, how he can strengthen the squad a little bit, what options there are going forward or looking towards next season.
Yep. Speaking of debuts, it wasn't Olivier Giroud's debut, but he did get his debut Chelsea goal, as in his first ever goal for Chelsea. Yeah.
So, congratulations?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah,
Why
sure.
not?
When it's 4-0.
Also, Danny Drinkwater got to play, so...
Hey! All right.
Good for him.
It's one of those games.
He looked really good, actually, but I just don't see him getting too many minutes for Chelsea.
Nor do I. Shall we move to the maybe other headline game of the weekend? Was Man United 2, Huddersfield 0.
Go for it.
And I would say it's because thumbs question mark to VAR. I really don't know what to make of this whole situation.
Squiggly thumbs.
Yeah, it's a curvy thumb. Yeah, it's not really sure which way it wants to go.
So yeah, Man United won 2-0 over Huddersfield, right? We got some other stuff to say about this, I believe. But yeah, there was a Juan Mata goal ruled out for offside, and then when they showed you the VAR footage, the lines, one, did not match up with the straight lines already on the field, right? Because the penalty area 18-yard line was pointing in a different direction to the lines they had.
Yes.
And two, they were squiggly.
Yep.
What? I have no idea exactly what was going on there.
The part of me that wants to blame it on incompetence is hoping that they just uploaded the wrong, rough image of, this is why we're reviewing it. And then they went to the actual review or something. The other part of me is, hopes that it wasn't that they're we got to make this look like it was a really good idea to review this one. Make it look obvious.
Who has Microsoft Paint?
Yeah, exactly. I saw that. I saw a lot of people pondering that one. Because it is almost like the VAR technician was a 7-year-old. And just here's a line. Yeah, why not?
You have a much lower standard for what constitutes a straight line when you're a 7-year-old.
I think
right?
so.
I remember drawing some straight lines. Yeah. So someone showed me a ruler, and I was like, oh.
And even then,
it's much
even
easier
then, I don't need your help, ruler.
Yeah.
So I can't tell if that is United homerism there. So I am curious what you thought of that overall.
Did you see the story that Hawkeye afterwards said? The footage that was broadcast, that's not what the VAR people were using. Here's what the actual lines look like, and they put out the image that was actually used, which did use straight lines that lined up with the penalty area line. And Juan Mata was offside by maybe 3 centimetres, a bit of his foot and a bit of his kneecap. So at least it was all above board in the end.
Well, here's my question, though.
To begin with is bizarre.
That is very bizarre. But here's my question, and this is what I mean when I say, I can't tell if I'm just being a United fan, so I would welcome your response, is that I always understood VAR to be if it is an obvious debate, if it is an obvious question, and I kind of thought it was
different in every country,
and
right?
I thought it was supposed to be the center official asks them or checks with them. And from everything I understood in this game, it was they said, we're reviewing this, and then he put his hand to his ear and waited for them to say, never mind, he was offside.
I think don't all goals get reviewed just to see if there's anything wrong with it?
Okay.
That's what happened.
So that makes sense then. Yeah. But then my question is...
They're wait, Ashley Young just played a Marcelo ball?
This can't be right.
Something's wrong here.
Something's fishy. But so I ask you then, do you think because it was technically correct, as we all know, the best type of correct, does that justify the use then? Or do you think it should be something where it is like, oh, it could go either way.
Oh, you're going to make me have an opinion on VAR.
No, I mean, I'm not trying to. I'm just.
You are putting me in a corner. I said no one puts a towel in a corner.
I am wondering because I genuinely believe that if it were flipped around and if Huddersfield scored that goal and it was called back, I would think that was stupid. So, but that's easy to say when it isn't that situation, so I'm not sure.
So technically he was offside, right? Mm-hmm. He was by just like his kneecap, but he was just offside. So yes, I kind of feel good that if we're going to have technology, it may as well be used to make decisions precise and correct and remove the doubt.
Yep.
Yeah, like goal line technology has basically done that. And I think with these lines, VAR technology is doing that.
Okay.
I think the problem is the presentation, right?
Yep.
Once you make the mistake of broadcasting the weird Microsoft Paint lines, then you undermine faith in the process. And even, I mean, I do believe that the image they put out afterwards with the straight lines, I really do believe that that's what they used. But it just adds an element of doubt that didn't need to be there. Right?
No, I think you're right. That's a good way to put it, is that when it comes down to it, if you're going to try to bring about this new technology or this new approach to games or to officiating games, you've got to do it really well and you've got to make it very clear because people are already looking for reasons to ridicule or be annoyed by changes or how long it takes.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a second.
It's like putting your foot out in front of Dele Alli. Just don't do it.
Yeah, and especially don't put your foot out in like a wiggly way that draws all the more attention to it because then it's just that much more, it looks that much more ridiculous to a global audience.
Yep.
So I think if they had done that initially, like here's how it works, like, and I think to their credit, a lot of times American broadcasters do a very good job. Maybe that's because they have the Sky Cam or whatever it is that they're better about like showing where the line is, moving it around so you see exactly why they made that choice.
Yeah.
Even if maybe that's a little bit of creative production, it still better explains the decision.
Maybe there's just more experience in American broadcasting with stuff that's been used for like the NFL and various like digitally created lines to show where you're going and where you've been. That makes sense?
I think so. I am still waiting for them to incorporate the mid-90s NHL slapshot streak. I would like that with a shot where it just like bursts into flame.
I think Willian could be on that.
Yeah, I'm down. Let's make it happen.
Okay, moving away from the actual VAR part, I want to move to Jose Mourinho's reaction to it.
This is what I was alluding to when I said the complaint about how long it takes.
I want to say thumbs down to Jose Mourinho for forgetting that body language has been studied and there's a science behind it and we know what he's doing. Because here's what happened. In the post-match press conference that I saw, I think this was with the BBC, he kept saying, if the video decision went against me and it is correct, then I am very happy. Okay, he repeated that about 3 times, but the whole time he was touching his ear and scratching his neck, which one quick Google search will tell you is body language for I am lying. I do not mean this at all. And then he eventually followed it up with, but I have heard that maybe it was not correct.
People are saying?
Yeah, people are saying. Yeah, that's very Jose Mourinho.
Yeah. I think he... Like, I was going to say Jose...
He's a rascal is what he is.
I was going to say he shouldn't play poker, but I think he would be a very good poker player.
Kill it, yeah.
I think in this situation, he's already annoyed with the media for a variety of their reporting, and I do wonder if maybe it was just sort of when you're already frustrated, it makes it that much harder to hide how you're actually feeling. So when he's trying to be diplomatic, he's still secretly thinking, I hate this, I don't want to talk to you people, so I don't feel like I need to put that much effort in. But either way, I'm with you, that he's maybe got to disguise it a bit more.
Well, can I also say thumbs up to Jose Mourinho for absolutely getting this game right? Right? Because didn't he lose to Huddersfield earlier in the season?
He sure did.
Because he kind of went at Huddersfield. And David Wagner had a whole thing where he went at Man United and just they beat Man United, right? From what I saw in this game, United sat back, let Huddersfield push up on them, and then they broke and scored 2 goals on the counter-attack. It was the smart way to go about things.
It was also, sorry, just to add on to that, I think Victor Lindelof started that game against Huddersfield that they lost, had a very bad game, so there was some speculation. Do you play him knowing that he had a bad game? He did. That seemed to have worked out. No Paul Pogba due to sickness, ?
I don't know. It seems like maybe an argument in the background. There's rumours that there was a disagreement and a falling out and almost Mourinho dropped Pogba to prove a point in this game. And I could totally see that being the case.
Who knows? But I will say...
McTominay started again.
McTominay, Carrick, and Matic is not the creative midfield that you might expect, but got the job done. So again, I think, credit to Mourinho for sort of getting the job done and doing what he needed to do to make that happen.
And to the actual goals, I want to give a thumbs up to the man who kind of inspired the thumbs up, thumbs down because of his communication with his teammates. Romelu Lukaku scored both the goals. Yes, yeah, Romelu Lukaku scored both the goals for Man United in this game. Thumbs up to Romelu Lukaku, for putting the go in give and go.
Okay.
If you picture both these goals, he lays it off to a teammate's first Mata, then he goes fast through the middle and he's on the end of the through ball. Second goal, it's a break because Huddersfield set men up for a corner. They break. Lukaku gives it to Sanchez and then he goes, and I mean sprints through the middle on the end of a through ball both times.
Yep.
Give and go.
Can I say this, though? I'm going to say thumbs down
and
to
then
Romelu.
finish.
I'm going to say thumbs down to Romelu Lukaku I'm going to say watching too much Die Hard. Because with both of these finishes, it was very like, oh, he's lost it. He's not going to be able to pull this one out. And then he suddenly does. And it's almost like the scene in the action movie where, like in Star Wars, where the fire engulfs the Millennium Falcon and then it flies through at the last minute. That's Romelu Lukaku for both of these goals. Like, he gets caught by the defender, he maybe takes a sloppy touch, seems like he's not going to pull it off, and then somehow at the very end shoots on target. It's very surprising as Daryl unzips to show his Millennium Falcon t-shirt. It seems fitting. I'm just saying it was like a really smart play from him to start these moves. It was really smart runs to get on the end of it, and it was good finishes. But in between, there's always like one little mistouch that makes it far more dramatic than it needs to be.
That's just for drama. It's just for drama.
That's good.
Yeah? It's like when Han Solo's doing the light speed thing, right?
Yeah, sure.
So I'm a big Lukaku fan until England plays Belgium.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anything else from this game?
Other than it was a weird moment when I think United scored that second goal that a series of small children invaded the pitch and Alexis Sanchez carried one off who was about his size.
I noticed
that. Was odd.
Yeah. And security didn't seem to do anything, right?
They did not. And I don't know if it was fake or not, but I saw supposedly one of the parents of that child posted the text message from his wife that was like, why is our child on the field? Whether or not that's true, I don't know.
Has he signed for Huddersfield?
I sure hope it was.
Before we move on, I've got a bit more FA Cup, but today's show is sponsored by SeatGeek. SeatGeek are back, their second ad in the new run. Before we do the full ad retail, I've got a quiz for you. Why is it called SeatGeek?
Because they help you find seats?
I've got a multiple choice question for you. Is it because you will geek out about the seats?
Okay.
That's A. Is it B, that the seats are sort of, they use an algorithm designed by geeks to select the best seats for you?
That was going to be the second part of my answer, so I'm going to say that.
Is it C, all of the above, because things can be two things? Or is it D, don't know, I Googled and I couldn't find out?
I'm going to say B. That was what I was going to say. They help you find seats and they do it using some sort of math.
Some sort of geeky algorithm math?
I mean, I wouldn't call them geeks, but they can self-fulfill that one if they choose.
The only answer I can confirm right now is D, don't know, because I Googled and I couldn't find out.
Oh, you just made that up?
Yes.
Oh my God. This is the worst quiz ever. You will not be writing the SATs, I don't think.
Should we tell people what SeatGeek is? SeatGeek
I can't believe that was actually the answer.
I mean, I gave you the option.
Oh my God.
SeatGeek is...
You'd be the most frustrating quiz show host.
A better way to buy tickets to sports and concerts. It can be complicated and confusing, but with the SeatGeek app, it is easy to buy and sell tickets.
The monster truck plans that we discussed last time we discussed SeatGeek, those are moving forward.
Those are happening, right?
Apparently.
I'm not involved. But...
I was talking to my brother-in-law, sister-in-law, who it's their nephew, or my nephew, their son, that wants to go. And I said,
no one knows how you relate to this person right now.
It's fine. You got to make it very specific. But I said, like, so are we still doing this? And her response was, oh, this is not optional. Like, he has made it clear that we're going, that you're going rather, so we are going. But I would say the other, things you could use it for, sporting events, I guess that would be monster trucks, but also comedy shows.
Is it though?
Music as well.
Is monster truck sporting event?
I mean, it takes some skill. You got to drive and crush things.
It's more like wrestling with cars, right?
That's a fair description. Yeah. But it's also, SeatGeek is good for music. I was looking at some acts that I wouldn't mind going to see. I looked up Electric Light Orchestra because my wife and I have been enjoying them very much. They are not, but it is Jeff Lynne, the lead singer with Electric Light Orchestra. Okay. I'm wondering if maybe that's a reincarnation with the lead singer firmly in front.
Yeah.
But they're all over the country. Closest they come to Richmond is Philadelphia. But
it's not that close.
It is not.
We were just there. It wasn't that close.
It was not. But it was close enough, given how much we've been enjoying them lately, that maybe I'll be looking into that come August.
This is what's happening. You guys are like rocking out to ELO.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. That's what happens when you get a turntable that finally works. Yep.
All right, well, if you would like to get $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase, which could be to see ELO in Philadelphia, or it could be to see monster trucks, whichever one you're into.
Hold on tight to your dreams, folks.
What you do is you download the SeatGeek app, you enter the promo code TSS. That's promo code TSS for $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase.
All right.
And a reminder, the answer was D, don't know. Terrible. But we'd love to find out.
We would, and we love SeatGeek for sponsoring today's program. Thank you to SeatGeek. More FA Cup now, Dale Grove?
Yeah, I've got one more game that I paid attention to a little bit, was the Southampton
That's exactly
West
where
Ham
I am.
game. It finished 2-1 to Southampton.
It sure did.
But it should have been like 10-2 to West Brom, because thumbs up to Salomon Rondon for doing his very best Higuain impression.
Okay.
That goal was worth 10 goals.
Okay. I mean, it was. Oh, so you're saying that's all. I thought you were saying his Higuain impression in terms of missing chances and frustrating the fans.
Oh, did he also do that?
No, I just thought that's what you meant. When you say doing an Higuain, I tend to go the negative route, not the positive route.
So his goal against Tottenham to open the game, where it came over his shoulder and he hit it on the volley.
I'm with you now.
Yeah. So if anyone hasn't seen this, Rondon, that ball comes from way deeper than the ball the ball Higuain receives. Jack Stevens, a Southampton defender, I think he's thinking, I'm going to let him receive this. It's on his left foot. He's slightly going away from goal. I'll tackle him after he controls it. Nope. Instead, Rondon smashes it out of the air from over his shoulder past the Southampton keeper.
Yes. But West Brom did have other chances, did have many good chances.
Some goal mess scrambles, weren't there?
There were, and that's what I'm going to say thumbs up to Saint Fiacre, who is supposedly the patron saint of taxi drivers, because I have to believe he wasn't pleased with West Brom's actions earlier in the week, so he got his revenge by punishing them in this game.
That's great.
Thank you.
Well done.
Yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it was in the news a little bit. Gareth Barry, Johnny Evans, Jake Livermore, Boaz Myhill. I guess West Brom went on a quick mid-season getaway to Barcelona. They wanted to go out late that night. The only thing that was open was a fast food restaurant. They took a taxi there. Then apparently drove the taxi home without the taxi driver back to the hotel.
Wow.
They haven't been charged, but they have been called in for questioning, something like that. But either way, taxi driver wasn't pleased, and I have to assume Saint Fiacre was not either.
And Saint Fiacre blessed Dusan Tadic with temporary magical powers.
Dude, I'm going to say thumbs up to the double moonball that happened for Dusan Tadic's goal, because I think it's Nathan Redmond volleys it from his own half, and it's a really well-hit volley over the top to Carrillo, and then Carrillo sees Dusan Tadic running through.
Does moonball just mean up and down?
Yeah, and it's I guess the first one is just more of a volley. It's just pretty, but it's up in the air. The second one from Carrillo is just a straight-up moonball that goes 30 yards in the air, but then goes 10 yards laterally. But it's enough to go over the top into the path of Dusan Tadic, who settles it, scores it. Beautiful goal, but I love the double moonball.
For that goal, I want to give a thumbs down to Gregor Kukoviak for a literal swing and a miss.
You're not great.
He comes in attempting to basically clear that ball out of the way of Tadic. I think he's just really swinging hard at it, and he's like, I'm going to actually hit the moon. Instead, he completely misses, and then Tadic looks so calm under all this pressure.
I think that's the thing.
And then just calmly chips the keeper.
When you've got the crazy flailing juxtaposed against the very cool, calm demeanor.
Kukoviak could not have done more to make Tadic look good.
But he tried, and I appreciate that effort from him. Yes.
Well done. Yeah, it finishes 2-1 to Southampton.
I have one more thing from the FA Cup, but it is not the men's FA Cup. Congratulations to Heather O'Reilly and Arsenal, who built the Millwall Lionesses to advance to the next round of the women's FA Cup. I forget what the official title is, but they've advanced to the quarterfinals. There are 8 teams left, so I'm not sure what that would be. I'm assuming. There we go. Yes. Okay, cool. Gotcha. I don't know what they call it in the FA Cup.
So we can see Heather O'Reilly.
The 6th round or whatever.
See Heather O'Reilly lift the FA Cup.
I'd be fine with that.
The same Heather O'Reilly who, I don't know if we talked about this, but she flew back to Orlando from London to vote in the US soccer presidential election. And then back to London the next day, or maybe that night, so that she could play. She really sort of...
I think it was the next day, but yeah.
She really worked hard to make sure she was there to vote,
And so did the other members of the Athlete Council, who are all so far away.
Well, some of them had games on that. I'm not getting into this.
Okay.
I'm not getting into this. Instead, I'm going to take us away from the FA Cup to some other tournaments.
Okay.
Where should we go? I've basically got, on my paper, it just says rest of the world.
That works for me. That's about where I am. Do you want to go to Italy first?
Yeah, let's do that. So, we're watching the Serie A title race. Napoli are 1 point ahead of Juventus. Napoli and Juventus both won 1-0 this weekend. Napoli are still 1 point ahead of Juventus. But I want to give thumbs broken in half, like a corner flag, after Marek Hamšík slide tackles it. And slightly thumbs down to Marek Hamšík.
Okay.
Because he scores what he thought was the second goal for Napoli against Spal. I don't know if you just pronounce it Spal, but S-P-A-L, all caps. Caps lock Spal, that's what I'm going to call them.
Yeah.
Scores a header, runs off celebrating. His celebration is to slide tackle the corner flag hard. Like it's a vengeance tackle.
Oh, it's a studs up Roy Keane tackle.
Snaps it in half. Snaps the corner flag in half. Gets a yellow card for it.
Yep.
Then gets up to see the referee touching his earpiece.
Yep.
To discover that he was ever so slightly offside for that goal. The goal does not stand.
Again, don't attack inanimate objects. It comes back to haunt you. Steal a taxi cab, you don't score goals. Assault a corner flag, you're offside.
But I mean, so this yellow card, it could add up over the season. So the big game that everyone's talking about is Juve versus Napoli on April 22nd. If they're still close, and that game's the title decider. What if Hamšík is suspended for that game? What if he's suspended for any game and Napoli are missing him in the title running? This would be, I believe, the first title win since the days of Diego Maradona and Careca.
For Napoli?
Yeah. So I don't understand why Hamšík did it. But I kind of admire the
He's emotional, man. He's caught up in the moment.
I kind of admire the overflow of passion that went into tackling that corner flag.
But if it comes back to haunt him,
yes.
Less head
so we'll see,
breaking,
right? So thumbs are broken like a corner flag for now. I will say maybe you should only get a yellow card if you do that away from home. This was at Napoli. Maybe you're allowed to damage your own corner flags, and the club can just say, "Hey, you pay for that new one."
It felt a little bit like the rule where you can get a red card for like punching your teammate. Like I get why that makes sense, but it is still weird. Like, but it's your own teammate.
Yeah.
Like, I should just be able to hit my teammate if I want to. Come on, come on, ref.
Like if I'm in trouble at home, if I break my own wine glass.
That's a yellow card. That's a bookable offense in my house, at least. But while we're talking about...
It was infidel, so I think it's a red card.
That's terrible, and I should have seen it coming. Well done, now. While we're talking about like passionate people in Italy, I'm going to say thumbs up to Gennaro Gattuso.
Okay.
I am surprised, I have to say. I did not think him taking over AC Milan was going to work out. Thus far, it's working out.
It didn't to begin with, right? And
it did not.
They seem to have turned a corner.
Unbeaten in 10 games.
I didn't see what happened this weekend.
Unbeaten in 10 games, 7 wins, only 4 goals conceded over those 10 games. 1-0 win over Sampdoria this weekend brings them level on points with Samp, who are, I think, in the final Europa League spot currently. So now it's goal difference that separates them. But it does seem like a big part of it has been just kind of his force of personality, that maybe this specific group of Milan players are responding to it. There's the footage of them all like punching him a week ago.
Yeah, that's like an after-game thing. He lets them all come in and punch him. Right?
Yeah, but
I
then
don't understand the reason, but...
I don't know, but then there was footage today of him celebrating with the team, and he is very like Gattuso-esque, where he's like putting people in headlocks and celebrating. He looks like he's like gonna fake punch Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Then he like pumps it up to the crowd, to like the away supporters. But I think it's Bonucci is trying to pull him to go celebrate with him, and he like shoves him away, like, no, you go. And it's just very all of the like temperamental insanity but passionate like soccer knowledge that Gennaro Gattuso would bring to a team, he seems to have brought to Milan, and it's working so far in a way that it has not in the past. So well done to him. Thumbs up to Gattuso.
And I think we should keep a closer eye on events in Serie A as this season. I think they're going to feature more in the thumbs up, thumbs down, because we'll keep an eye on, at the very least, Napoli and Juventus in that title race.
An actual title race in Europe.
And an extra eye on Milan, who I think only 7th, right? But they're turning a corner. They're on the rise.
They're getting in there. They're getting in there.
Are. Can we head over to...
All it took was hundreds of millions of dollars.
Can we head over to Germany? No, I mean, that didn't work, right?
I suppose it did. Yeah. Let's go to Germany. Yes.
Let's go to Germany. I want to give a thumbs up to the formerly injured trio of Royce, Götze, and Schürrle.
Yeah.
So they combined to play for Dortmund this weekend. Pulisic was left out of the starting 11, but the attacking three behind Batshuayi as Marco Reus, Mario Götze, Andre Schürrle. The three of them combined for what ended up being a ruthless Marco Reus finish.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, do you want to talk about the finish first or how they combined?
Let's go. Yeah, let's do it chronologically. So it's a Götze ball from deep, sort of chipped over the defense for Andrea Schürrle.
Yep, Schürrle brings it down, and then it looks like
really softly, right? It's a real nice soft Schürrle touch.
Yeah, it was really pretty. It was also, he sort of from a distance and in a blurry like streamable clip looks a bit like Marco Reus, and so for a minute I was like, wait, is he going to score from here? That's very impressive. Instead, he tries to play it back across, Schürrle does, for it looks like Götze, but Götze either can't get to it or leaves it.
I can't tell if Götze gets a shout from Reus or just kind of Krakowiak's it.
Or, wow, that's apt and also sad. Either way, it goes to Reus, and I'm going to say Reus had a word, because even if Götze settles that one, he's doing so kind of out of control at full speed and probably isn't going to be able to turn that one into a shot on target, let alone a goal, whereas Reus is in a better position to settle the ball, have a crack, and that's exactly what he does.
And this shot takes some looking at to figure out exactly what's going on, right? Because it looks as if it just goes centre, roof of the net, over the head of the goal. I'm not sure who the Mönchengladbach keeper is, but it just goes straight over his head and through his hands almost. And it looks like it just shouldn't happen. I think there's some knuckle on it.
I think so too, because if you watch his positioning, he's in a fine spot. Yeah, he's in a fine spot to be able to save it, and then he jumps to the left. And I think you spotted this, that it looks like it's going to go near post, and I think it must just be so much knuckle and swerve to it that it like swerves back over and then goes up and then goes down, and there's so much movement on it that it's just kind of nasty, impossible to read.
Nasty strike from Royce. But the reason I really like this is it just made me think that over the years, these three guys, Royce, Schürrle, Götze, Schürrle and Götze combined to win the World Cup for Germany in 2014.
There's that.
In extra time. They've had horrible luck with injuries.
Yep.
And one of the beneficiaries of them having horrible luck with injuries has been Christian Pulisic. He had more minutes in that Dortmund team early on because those guys were not available to play at various points, right?
Yeah.
The other thing with this is, this is the first time I've seen Pulisic not start for Dortmund, and I've just thought, that's fine. He's one of their best players. It doesn't matter, right? He came on for the last 16 minutes or so. But I weirdly just felt cool
having
about
played midweek as well. So I don't disagree, but I think it was Rob Osri who tweeted something this weekend like, but he needs to start producing. And I do agree with that. That like I don't have that feeling of like, oh no, he's not in there anymore. That must be bad. But I have a little bit of like,
he got the assist last week to Batshuayi, right?
Yeah,
the shot come cross.
And I think that stands out because it has been a while since we talked about him outside of, I guess he had the other one where he sort of like shovel passed it to Batshuayi. Those were the two. But really, outside of that, and maybe that's just because Dortmund haven't been scoring as many up until they got a new coach and new personnel, I can't really remember a lot of, like, Pulisic assist, Pulisic goal, another assist. They seem very far between. And so it makes me wonder if maybe that's not his game, maybe that's not something he's being asked to do, but it would be nice to see him more directly involved from a statistical standpoint.
I agree, but I don't want to worry too much because, again, he's only 19, and he's suddenly, if you think about Pulisic now, he's at the point of, the professional, the sort of fatigue that you start to get. Not that he looks fatigued, but players essentially have dips in form where they're no longer the new exciting thing that's full of energy. You've been around a little while. You can't expect him to be just banging goals and assisting all the time.
You made me sad.
Why is that?
Because I was like, it's going to be tough for him because he won't have this summer to rest. He will, though.
We may feel the benefit in August.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
It's a very, very small consolation, but we may feel the benefit in August.
Yeah, that would be the think piece if like next season he starts for Dortmund, tears the league apart, and there's all these think pieces about like, he didn't have the World Cup this summer. Should the World Cup be shorter? Christian Pulisic is tearing everything apart.
The US should miss the World Cup every year.
Let's not have that happen. Well, we do miss it every 3 years, but then that fourth year, hopefully, we don't miss it again.
Fabian Johnson did not play for Borussia Mönchengladbach. I believe he was injured. Reece Oxford, young English teenager, having an adventure in Germany, did play right back for Mönchengladbach.
Oh, you mean the one that was going to go to the Euros? That was not a great prediction by me.
But I think he's done a good job of like steering his career back in the right direction. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Anything else from Germany?
Nothing else from Germany for me. Aaron Johansson played again, and his hips didn't hurt him, so that's good. I didn't see any footage there.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad that Aaron Johansson and my brother's dog are in similar fields of like their hips are doing okay, so we're fine. Should we go to Spain?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some good stuff in La Liga.
Okay.
Where would you like to start? Let's start with Barcelona's 2-0 win over Eibar, and that through ball from Leo Messi to Luis Suarez. This is Barca's first goal. If you take a look at this, Messi is roughly in the middle of the field, right? Maybe halfway line-ish. Advances at the Eibar defence. He puts a through ball between the two Eibar centre-backs, but it bends behind the left-back for Luis Suarez to run onto. So between the centre-backs and behind the left-back for Suarez to drive at the Eibar keeper. I think have a bit of a fake shot, like a pump fake.
Yeah.
And then a step around the keeper and then a finish. It's a really nice goal. It's classic Messi Suarez with Felipe Coutinho watching from the bench.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure he was enjoying that view, though. It's a really nice view on the sideline. But that was an amazing pass. I would say slightly outdone, though, by the Cristiano Ronaldo pass to Gareth Bale.
This was good, too.
In Madrid's 5-3 win over Real Betis.
Yeah, which is probably the game of the weekend, right? I've only seen highlights. I wish I'd watched the 90 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, especially because, like, knowing the result and then watching like the extended highlights, it's less dramatic. But at one point it's 4-2, then it's 4-3. Maybe it seems a little bit more dramatic. So it was
at one point Betis were winning, which made it kind of super exciting.
That's right. And we can talk about how that happened maybe in a second. But I had a strange, I'm not sure if it's just because I've had Coen Brothers on the brain for some reason, but I did have the moment where it's Ronaldo plays, he must beat like 9 players with one pass. He plays in Gareth Bale. It's a really
plus 9 packing stat.
Something like that. It's an amazing pass. And it's a really smart run from Gareth Bale. It's an amazing awareness from Ronaldo to spot it. He plays him in. Bale gets, I think, a touch wide, shoots, and I think it's saved. It's given as a goal kick, but I think there's a hand there. And I just have to believe that that was as close as Ronaldo and Bale have come to a Donny Walter Sobchak moment from I can just imagine him like, Donny, like, you finished that goal.
Bailey,
you're out of your element.
I could see Ronaldo saying that, you're out of your element.
Because you just have to imagine that he knows he has played an inch perfect pass that would be the like on every highlight reel forever. And then it doesn't go in, and it's really good work for Gareth Bale to even get that shot off. But still, I imagine afterwards he's going to hear about it.
Well, Ronaldo himself managed to score a ferocious goal. I want to say it was ruthless.
Yep.
Is the word. It's just a step inside and then bang inside the near post. It reminded me of peak Ronaldo.
Yep.
I kind of think he might be back based on the Champions League finish in midweek and this finish against Betis.
And he doesn't get the assist for Asensio's opener, the header, but it's the same thing. He cuts inside, has a rocket, it's saved, and it goes right to Asensio to head in.
Yep.
Same idea. So even if he doesn't get the credit there, he still definitely made that play into what it was.
So I've got thumbs up to Marco Asensio. I just want to give him an early thumbs up before the rest of the world pays attention to him this summer.
Yep.
So Asensio scores a second goal. It's a Carvajal. I'm going to say dance.
Yep.
Down that right wing, then cuts it back. And Asensio does this weird thing where as the ball comes to him, he kind of opens up at the last second, I want to say, to go instead of right foot, left foot, completely fools the keeper, puts it inside the far post. 2 goals in the 5-3 win. And it got me thinking, like, why have I never seen Asensio at a tournament? And the answer is because he's never been to a senior tournament. Yeah. So assuming Asensio goes
Spain are good.
Assuming he goes to the World Cup this summer with Spain, I've got a feeling he's going to be one of the breakout stars of the World Cup.
Oh, but he didn't go to the Euros.
No.
I guess he wouldn't have. Yeah, he
went to the
under
under-21 Euros.
All right, then.
How about that?
Spain are good.
Yeah.
Spain and Germany doing things. Daryl, I don't know. I'm going to go be bold here. I'm going to say I think Spain, Germany, and Brazil going to be strong at the World Cup.
England is the answer. England.
Sure.
Is the answer.
I will say, I know this was not experimental, but I think Zidane rested some players from the Champions League, gave some new players some minutes. But if I'm PSG, if I'm Unai Emery, I'm watching that and thinking, there are opportunities here because Betis had a couple different chances because the Real Madrid line was the back line was very ragged. They didn't do a good job of holding that offside line.
Was it also drawn with Microsoft Paint?
I think a little bit. It was a little bit like that. At least one of their goals comes from a big switch, and then everybody just kind of gets stretched and nobody picks up runners. That would be an opportunity for PSG. And then the other one I saw was Sergio Ramos being very aggressive in his step to try. Essentially, if you imagine it as PSG, it was like trying to track Edson Cavani and sort of making sure that you're on him so he doesn't have the opportunity to do that link-up play.
Yeah.
But because of that, he kept kind of stepping out of position and leaving it as a back 3 with 3 attackers still there from Betis, and that's how they get goals as well. So I do think while I had that momentary like, ooh, Madrid scoring 5, like PSG got to be nervous, and then I watched the extended highlights, watched a few more little things, and thought, there are opportunities here. PSG might be thinking, okay, this isn't so bad. This isn't as bad as we thought.
Well, as Neymar said, he's been in worse situations.
Yes. Cue the 4-0 beating for PSG.
Anything else?
Yeah, I'm going to say thumbs up to the Utah Royals. Just a quick thumbs up to them for treating professional athletes like professional athletes. There's been I've seen a few posts on social media.
The new NWSL team, right?
It is, and I've seen a few posts from Utah Royals players sort of being shocked to find a state-of-the-art locker room with all of their stuff laid out and very nice. And I think that reminds me of like that Hope Solo article from a while ago where they were changing like a disused bathroom that didn't have running water and then staying at the Furry Hotel. Different story.
I read that.
But it was interesting to see, and it was interesting to see players, like new players to that team, like Kelly O'Hara, who is with, I guess, Kansas City, now with Utah, not knowing that was going to be the case, and now being like, whoa, she tweeted, like, I can't wait to be there, and Becky Sauerbrunn the same. That was pretty hilarious. I will say, also hilarious from Becky Sauerbrunn, it was one of those jokes that, like, I would make thinking it was funny and then realize that I had massively gone wrong. She tweeted a thing like, for those who are wondering why I'm not with the U.S. national team right now, here's your answer. And it was a photo of like a kid, like a baby's women's national team uniform with a cat next to it. And everybody immediately was like, oh, you're having a baby. That's amazing. Congratulations. And then she realized, like, she had definitely made it look like she was having a baby. And she, I think, sent a clarification tweet of, no, my mother just wants more grandkids. She sends me baby clothes, and I put them on my cat. So the misdirect was beautiful.
What does that have to do with not being with the U.S. national team?
I don't know. That's a great question. I think maybe the cat just steals her clothing.
Is it because they're not playing right now?
That could also be.
Right? She believes isn't until like March 1st.
No, maybe she just has got her dates
Unless
wrong.
maybe there is a training camp that's just starting. I should have researched this before we started the show.
It's all good. But either way, I think well done to the Utah Royals for instantly getting a lot of good PR and deserved PR as well.
Speaking of good PR, this isn't good PR. This is just a thing that's made me happy. Thumbs up to the Pittsburgh Riverhounds Soccer Club. So we had a few people, I think, mention that Pittsburgh Riverhounds have changed their logo. They've gone from the basically cartoon dog to a more modern-looking, USL logo. Right? That's great. It didn't get me all that excited until I saw a photo of a preseason Pittsburgh game,
and made me jealous.
Lining up for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds Soccer Club, which is their new name, by the way, was Mr. Hugh Roberts, the excellent centre-back who previously played right here for the Richmond Kickers, then went to Bethlehem Steel, and then was let go last December. And we were really worried that he wasn't going to have a team for this season, which really would have been a crime against soccer. Because this man is an excellent centre-back. He's still in his mid-20s, I believe. So I'm really happy that he...
Mid to late, but closer to
looks
mid.
like he's got a team for... I can't believe he's played a game for Pittsburgh and they're like, nah. If they've seen him play, they'll be like, yes.
Yeah.
How much money can we give you?
No, I mean, he's the guy who we said many times could be playing in Major League Soccer.
That's what I felt watching him for the Kickers.
Yep.
Yeah.
So well done to Pittsburgh. And I did like the white uniform. I didn't love the yellow and black. That was the home uniform. The away uniform was pretty awesome.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
We should also mention, Hugh Roberts is another thumbs up, thumbs down
guy. That's
he's
right.
a guy, like, he will receive a pass from a teammate and give him a thumbs up as he's receiving it and then play the ball on.
And not in a catty way. Not in a, like, you finally passed me the ball the right way, so I'll make a big show of it. No,
just general encouragement. Yeah.
But it was, like, I think the one we noticed was he received the ball, and as he turned to pass, he received it, like, from his right, passed it to his left back, and as he did, he gave the right back a thumbs up. It was outstanding work from him.
Pittsburgh, if you sign Hugh Roberts, if you're a Pittsburgh fan, that's a great signing.
Yep.
Treasure him. Treasure him.
Treat him right. He's beautiful. We've got scouting to come, but first we've got a word from our friends at Fucci, Daryl.
Yes, Fucci are sponsoring today's episode.
A word that we'll be saying.
Fucci, spelled F-U-T-C-H-I, is the soccer rebounder. It's soccer meets squash, so you can sort of play it in your backyard or on a beach or wherever you put the court down. You play the ball against the net, it bounces in the court. Your opponent tries to do the same. The question I had for you today, Taylor, is which player from this weekend needs to get a Fucci to practice his skills?
I was going to say Fernando Llorente just because he could feel what it's like to consistently hit the net, and then that would be something that maybe Tottenham could really use.
You're a bad man.
Actually, based on a conversation that we've just had, I'm going to say Felipe Coutinho, just so he can have something to do on the sidelines and stay a little bit sharp.
You're an even worse man.
I mean, he needs to, stay, not match fit, but he needs to get some touches in preparation for the World Cup, and maybe he won't get that many minutes with Barcelona if they continue to play the way they're playing. So, he can stay sharp on the sideline.
Okay, I'm going to say Marek Hamšík. So he can practice...
destroying it with two-footed tackles?
Yeah, but he can... Because it's got a bit of give in it, right? The Fucci net and a bit of rebound. He can practice just sliding in with just enough pressure to make it bend and bounce back, but not break.
Okay.
So you just get that down to a fine art.
Or you could not tackle an inanimate object again.
But if you're going to have to do it, at least he can get the precision right of how much force to put into it.
This is my new campaign. Just don't hurt things that can't say anything back. Yeah, be
Taxes,
nice. Be nice. Yeah.
Corner flags, and
Fucci's. Yeah. Just let him be. Let him be, man. Telephones, if you're Ray Fines and in Bruges, don't do that either.
If you'd like to get a Fucci rebounder or a Fucci t-shirt or a Fucci cap, I won't be putting one on today because I forgot to prepare it.
I did like the LAFC-esque reveal last time you did it, though.
Good,
that was pretty.
I wish we got video of that. Or Fucci print. They're also selling prints on the website. You can get 15% off with the discount code TSS2018, TSS2018 for 15% off a Fucci rebounder or other Fucci apparel.
It was
Come and get it, Mr. Hamšík.
It was about 60 degrees at points today here in Richmond, Virginia.
We're about to hit that beautiful Richmond spring.
And I'm saying we've got the season coming up. We've got to get some touches in. We may have to break out the Fucci sooner rather than later. But until then, thank you to Fucci for sponsoring today's show.
Link will be in the show notes. Okay, I'm excited for scouting today because we're towards the end of MLS preseason. We've been tracking these teenagers, some of whom are with their first team in the preseason and are looking to sort of, stay on the roster and see who we get to see in Major League Soccer. I've seen the first name on the list, but I haven't seen the report, so I don't know if it's good news or bad news.
Why don't you have at it, my friend?
You want me to go for it? Okay, so first up in the scouting reports, the Reverend Joel Tolbert is scouting Chris Gosselin, the 17-year-old American central midfielder for Atlanta United. Gosling was a beast for Atlanta in their preseason friendly against Nashville, says the Reverend Joel Tolbert, to give him his full name. He looked skillful on the ball and delivered some lethal through balls on an insanely stubborn surface. That's in quotation
I think
marks.
that was the waterlogged pitch that we talked about with Andrew Carlton.
Mm-hmm. He also trucked a Nashville player, despite still only being a teenager. With the release of Carmona back to Chile, I did not know that, it looks like Gosling might possibly have a faster track to Major League Soccer than Andrew Carlton.
I added the possibly. A lot of conditionals in there.
Yeah.
Zach Lippert scouting Alejandro Guido, the 23-year-old American mediocampista for Club Tijuana. Zach wrote us a poem, I think. Las Rosas son rojas, excuse me. Guido comenzó Hugo 69 minutos. I forget how to say 69. Pero Pachuca el rompió el corazón, which I believe was Roses are red, Guido started. He played 69 minutes, but Pachuca broke his heart. So I'm going to assume that means they lost. Or Pachuca beat Tijuana. There you go.
And happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Also that.
Russell Findlay is scouting Eric Palmer Brown. I was hoping we'd get a report here. The 20-year-old American defender who is now on loan at KV Kortrijk from Manchester City. Kortrijk, excuse me. Tab Ramos was discussing youth in Major League Soccer and he brought up Eric Palmer Brown. He basically felt that he could be a player in the Yaya Toure mould and played him as much for the U20s. I remember this. Mm-hmm. It was in place of Jonathan Gonzalez.
And it was a longer quote that Russell sent that was basically, it was the idea that like he has the foot skills, he has the technical ability, so I just thought I'll go ahead and play him there and see what he can do.
I'm not sure I agree with that from watching him at the defensive midfield role in the U20 qualifiers. Anyway, but Tab Ramos also seems to believe that people in the professional game don't agree.
Yeah.
Add podcast game to that. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Eric Palmer Brown still hasn't appeared for KV Kortrijk, at least as of last Friday, but he was on the bench this weekend.
He was. So that may have changed. We're not sure. That's why
I don't think he came off the bench because Brian Sciaretta would have tweeted it if he had.
That is definitely true. I'm also going to say...
I checked his timeline.
69, I believe is how you say 69. I was trying to remember.
We've moved on, Taylor. We've moved on since then.
Have we?
Yeah.
Well, either way. Then that means we moved on to Mason Kriz, scouting Marco Farfan, the 19-year-old American left back for the Portland Timbers.
We're all American so far.
Farfan got minutes in Portland's 1-1 preseason draw with Houston. More importantly, Vitas, Portland's more senior left back, was shown a red card and is suspended for the next match. Most Portland Timbers pundits think the race for the starting left back spot is wide open. So Farfan's performance against FC Dallas will be very important. That was on Saturday, so I'm assuming we'll get a follow-up email from Mason Kriz sometime this week.
I don't know if there's a report here, but the right back for FC Dallas in that game was Reggie Cannon. So it was right back Reggie Cannon for Dallas versus left back Marco Farfan. If you can find footage of that and see two young American fullbacks go at each other.
Okay.
All right. Tyler Smith is scouting Ian Hoffman, the 16-year-old American midfielder for Karlsruhe U17s. This is a new American in Germany. Came to our attention during the US Under-18
I'm going to
friendlies.
assume dual national based on the age.
Yes, I looked into this. So Tyler says Hoffman was called into the recent US Under-18 friendlies against Costa Rica. Though normally a creative number 10 for Karlsruhe, Hoffman played as a right-back for the first of the two friendlies. Hoffman was dangerous in the attack.
Are you creative or exciting? Go play defense.
Making overlapping runs. No, listen up. He was making overlapping runs and serving in several crosses to the back post. He was specifically praised for his, quote, resourcefulness, unquote, by Adam Bells of Scuffed, who identified Hoffman, Taylor Booth, and Cameron Duke as the three US players that impressed the most. Hoffman has since returned to the Karlsruhe U17 squad, where he is the team leader in both goals and assists.
Not playing as a right back. That's not how that happened.
By the way, if you want a deeper review of that U18 versus Costa Rica game, listen to the most recent episode of the Top Draw Soccer Show. Top Draw Soccer Show.
You got it.
Yeah.
I've heard of that show.
Yeah.
Bill Park.
It's good every other week.
I've also heard of Bill Park because I've also heard of the man he's scouting. It's Chris Durkin. He is legally a man now. He just turned 18. 18-year-old American midfielder for DC United. Durkin appears likely to have secured a first-team spot with DC United. I'm assuming that's a first-team spot in the roster. While it isn't a guarantee, Durkin is one of 24 players listed on the roster on United's website. Durkin came on as a halftime sub in United's preseason match against the Philadelphia Union, played as the lone defensive midfielder, and reportedly performed well. After the match, Ben Olsen commented, quote, "We're giving him some time here with the first team, and he continues to do pretty well. He's still young, he's still a work in progress, but we certainly like his development over the last year and where he's at currently," end quote. Meanwhile, Goal.com has reported that DC United has received, but not accepted, offers for Durkin from international clubs like Inter and Hannover 96. I'm going to assume that was in January, since I doubt those clubs are making offers.
Yeah, I mean, they can't sign anyone till the summer.
I also doubt that like signing an 18-year-old is the type of move that you're going to do like in February to have it announced in July 1st or whatever. You know how like some moves happen before? I doubt that's what's the case here. Because
whatever happens, if Chris Durkin can play first-team soccer for DC United in Major League Soccer, even if he ends up, if you think that his career arc is going to be somewhere much, much bigger,
which I do,
there's the chance to play for DC United in MLS right now. That should absolutely be what happens this year.
Yeah.
To sell him, I think, would be to do him a disservice.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree wholeheartedly.
Sell him after a year or two.
Yeah, get him some minutes.
John Adams, not that one, is scouting Cheyenne Harrison.
Can I say one thing? Sorry for interrupting, but it's exactly what we're talking about, though, with Christian Pulisic, how you get the minutes. Pulisic established himself as a starter. That's what we want Chris Durkin to do. And then it's sort of you do that for a year or two, you work on the things you need to work on, and then if there comes a time when you feel like, okay, I've kind of learned what I need to, that's when you make that move.
Yes.
And that's why we're happy that Christian Pulisic has not moved yet from Dortmund. That's why I'm okay with Chris Durkin continuing to fight for minutes at DC United.
I'm really excited to see him in a DC United shirt playing in Major League Soccer.
Yeah, agreed. And I think he would do just fine.
John Adams, not that one, as I mentioned, is scouting Cheyenne Harrison, the 20-year-old English striker for Tottenham. John says Cheyenne started and played 82 minutes in Southend United's 0-0 draw with Bury. I'm going to keep doing it. The Shrimpers played two up top in this game, with Harrison partnering former Crystal Palace striker Freddie Ladapo. Southend's manager Chris Powell fooled you. Said, I thought they were good at times, but you've got to remember how tough it is for them. They've been waiting in the wings, and then they come into a game that's a tricky pitch against a side that's going to be quite physical with them, and I thought Cheyenne showed some good touches at times. Some qualified praise there.
Glowing praise. Elijah Bates scouting Jeremy Toljan, the 23-year-old German left back for Dortmund.
German-American, no?
We'll go German. Despite Dortmund winning their Europa League match against Atalanta 3-2, Toljan had a less than pleasant game. He was forced to defend multiple players at a time on multiple occasions, was directly at fault for the first goal, was also partially at fault for the second goal as he failed in a tackle attempt. I believe for the first goal he failed with a headed attempt. The team's overall poor defensive performance was not his fault, but he certainly didn't help.
Stain Machelane is scouting Charlie Musonda Jr., the 21-year-old Belgian midfielder on loan at Celtic from Chelsea. Stain says after two appearances in the Scottish Premiership, Musonda has his first assist as a second-half sub in Celtic's 1-0 win over Zenit in the Europa League. In two quick touches, he settled a difficult pass from Dembele and put McGregor in on goal.
That's Moussa Dembele too, I believe. Tom Gaffney scouting James Sands, the 17-year-old American defender/midfielder for NYC FC.
He's another one. He's holding on to that first-team spot, maybe?
Can I just say, while I want them all to hold on to first-team spots and get minutes, I also want their positions to be settled, so I don't have to keep adding slashes. Sands went the full 90.
I believe oblique is the correct term.
Slash as it is. Named after, little known fact, Slash from Guns N' Roses.
Right?
Yeah, he's the first one.
Because he could never decide.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, am I a lead guitarist? Am I a rhythm guitarist? I'm a lead guitarist. So I guess he didn't need the slash. Never mind. Sands went the full 90 as a defensive midfielder in a 3-0 friendly loss to Atletico San Luis. This was not a good result against a second-tier Mexican side, but it was interesting that Sands featured in a lineup with 8 to 9 probable starters for NYC. It seems manager Patrick Vieira wanted to give James an extended look with the starters, which could bode well for the young American.
Dennis Dugan is scouting João Matinho, the 20-year-old Portuguese left-back for LAFC.
I believe he also added, not that one.
Number one in Major League Soccer Super Draft. We saw him drafted, right? LAFC's number one draft pick has had a solid pre-season,
Outstanding.
Particularly in closed-door friendlies against NYCFC and Toronto. He's been playing as a left-back but provided an assist in the Toronto game while playing as a left winger. So it's anyone's guess where he ends up playing for LAFC this season. Side note, Google alerts for João Matinho are less useful than you might think.
This is very true. And I was really debating whether or not I wanted to try to bait you into making some recommendation about Google Alerts before that one, but I wasn't sure how to make it work. Either way, good work from Dennis. Phil Grooms scouting Aiden Stanley, Aedan Stanley, 18-year-old American left back for St. Louis FC. Stanley started in St. Louis FC's preseason friendly with Eastern Florida State College. All right. He got 3 total assists in that game, 2 of which came from corner kicks. He was moved into a more attacking position at halftime and contributed another assist with a beautifully chipped ball over a defender to the onrushing right winger. Stanley is committed to Duke and also joined the U20s at the recent Youth Summit.
That's a name to remember, Aiden Stanley, I believe. Also, Phil Grooms is on the USL show. I'm going to be guesting on the USL show Monday to do a Richmond Kickers preview. Just doing some self-promo.
Are you ready for this? Have you done all of your hours and hours of research and learned every single player?
I actually haven't, but I have time to do it before I record.
Sonny Johnny's in Cambodia. I know that much. Or Thailand. Thailand, I think.
And Hugh Roberts is in Pittsburgh.
There you go.
Gillian Avalon is scouting both Ronan Hale and Jack Storer, the 19 and 20-year-old strikers, respectively, for Birmingham City. It's not how you pronounce it. Baby Ronan has asked for, and been granted, a loan closer to home, this time with Derry City. The loan is going well so far and was inspired in part by Hale's desire to be closer to his 6-month-old daughter. Yes, he has a child. Meanwhile...
Meanwhile, Jack, I believe.
Oh, there's a word missing here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Jack Storer was released from his loan to Solihull Moors. Manager Steve Cottrell stated, that's Birmingham manager Steve Cottrell, stated that he's been given a few opportunities, but that he had, quote, blown up on a couple of opportunities, unquote, and that was, quote, putting it nicely, unquote.
Yeah.
So it's safe to say that his temper is a bit of an issue.
It seems like people know that he's got a temper and don't necessarily want to deal with it.
Let's not forget, this is the guy who was sent off on his senior team debut for headbutting an opposing player, then injured his foot kicking the advertising board on the way off.
Not great.
Do you know who that was against?
Was it against Wolves?
Against Wolves in the derby.
You guys have a way. Have a way.
He did not help Birmingham City in that derby.
He did not.
He did not.
He did not. Maybe he needs to talk to somebody, because it does feel like if you've got the anger management issues, it will be a problem over the long run.
Honestly, football teams...
And also the short term.
Football teams need to sort of not punish players like that necessarily. They need to figure out a way to get people some help.
Sports psychology is a thing.
Psychology, yes. So thank you to everybody who sent in scouting reports today. There's been a lot of new scouting assignments went out over the weekend. That's basically what I did with my weekend, was scouting assignments.
You saw movies and sent out scouting reports? Or scouting assignments, rather?
Yeah, Friday was morning scouting assignments, afternoon Black Panther with Taylor and Ryan, evening scouting assimments.
It was real good.
Yeah. I spent time to have dinner with my wife as well.
That's good.
So,
That's good.
I broke it.
Important things.
Quick note on scouting. I think I've been telling people as I assign the new players to the new scouts, that I also want to share with people who are already scouting. Twitter is your friend. The best place to get immediate news about your player. Search his or her name on Twitter. I know we always used to say Google Alerts. Twitter's so much better because you often get footage and you get like little things. Search your player's name on Twitter. I guarantee you'll find some news. Or news for someone with a similar name.
It is also genuinely shocking how many of these people who are like 19-year-olds playing for like Schalke's second team or whatever still have like 400 followers. So it is one where if you start following them, there's a decent chance you might be able to interact as well.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. All right, if you would like to sign up for the Scouting Network, it's totalsoccershow.com/join.
Correct.
You can also join and basically just financially contribute to the show. If you don't feel like scouting, there's the Silent Scout option. That definitely works for us, right? Because you contribute to us, you help us grow the show, but you don't have to do any work if you don't want to.
All right.
If you don't want to. Again,
if you don't want to.
totalsoccershow.com/join. And if you're waiting for your player, email me, Daryl@totalsoccershow.com.
Alrighty.
All right.
So do all those things? Yeah. Housekeeping's always important, but I spent my weekend doing housekeeping, so I'm good.
Final thing to say is that this week we'll be back on Tuesday to review the Champions League action. Can you remember the games, Tyler?
I cannot.
It is only Bayern Besiktas.
Nor can you. You're looking at a piece of paper.
It's a form of memory. It's like an external hard drive.
Sure.
Tuesday's games are Bayern versus Besiktas, which is interesting in its own right because Besiktas are a fascinating team. Chelsea-Barcelona.
I've heard of all of those teams.
So can we say Chelsea-Barcelona on the big screen, Bayern Besiktas on the small screen?
We can.
Yeah.
I want to try to find the Besiktas game with the Turkish commentary because that would be all the more emotional and fun. But yeah, I'm down for that.
By process of elimination, can you guess who's on Wednesday?
Man United, Sevilla, and then two other teams. Shakhtar, Roma?
Sevilla, Man United, Sevilla at home. And then, Shakhtar versus Roma. Again, probably Man United on the big screen, Shakhtar, Roma on the little screen.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
All right.
But probably.
Those are Tuesdays and Wednesdays shows already lined up for you. Taylor Rockwell, thank you for taking the time to talk to me today.
Right back at you, buddy. Hopefully I've done a passable impression of a podcaster, as was the request in the beginning of the show.
It was very convincing.
Okay.
Listeners, thank you for listening.
That's what I'm going for. Adequacy.
We'll talk to you again on Tuesday after the Champions League games.